Great. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. It's great to meet you all. I'm Maxine. I'm one of the co-founders of Arist, and I help lead our For Good initiatives here. And I'm going to just pass it off to Meredith quickly to give an introduction as well.
Hi, my name is Meredith Foster. I'm an implementation partner here at Arist, so I work with our customers and help them use our software. And I'm very eager to bring on more nonprofit partners because we have so many fantastic ones that we'd love to extend. So thank you all for being here today.
Yeah, well, thank you so much again. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Arist does today, how we work with nonprofits and for good institutions to help teach and train millions of people around the world using WhatsApp and SMS. Before I dive in, I just wanted to ask a little bit about what you're hoping to get out of today's webinar. If you don't mind just putting a quick response in the chat, that can help me make sure that we hit on all the points that you're interested in. And if you're just here to hear about what we do, that's okay too. AI, yep, can definitely touch on that. Great to see you, Joanne.
Oh, fantastic. Microfinance.
Microfinance, definitely. We'll definitely talk about implementation as well. Cool. Well, super helpful. If you have other things you want to get out of this or you have questions during, happy to stop and answer questions as well. You can put it in the Q&A section or the chat directly, and we'll make sure to answer them as well. So today's agenda, again, going to talk about what Arist is, why we're here today, a bit about our founding story, some core learning challenges, and then what message-based learning even is and how we put it into practice with amazing organizations to help change the way people learn, and how we work with partners to help them implement Arist as well. So a bit of backstory on Arist. I met my co-founders in college, and we all worked in the nonprofit education space. And we were trying to deliver critical learning experiences from financial literacy training to entrepreneurship education in remote regions around the world, from Yemen to rural Oregon to Tanzania. And we ran up against several challenges when trying to deliver these experiences in an effective way. The first is that most of these students had limited access to high bandwidth internet, or at least not consistent access. And so they didn't get educational experiences that consistently, whether it was their inability to go in person to these classes or to get it, online because they had spotty internet. The second is that each person had their own need, right? Learners are busy. I mean, we're all busy as well, right? And we have our own needs. Some people weren't able to end their day and sit down and go through hours of video training or click through learning experiences when they had other responsibilities in life. And the third is that we found that education had to be localized for it to be effective. It had to be translated to their language. It had to be within cultural context. And it took a lot of time to localize training to different regions. And finally, we noticed that because of these challenges, most learning experiences ended up being one time. We'd go do a seminar or a several-day workshop in person and then leave. But what happens after that? Not much to reinforce that learning or make it applicable or contextualized to the people we were delivering it to. And so it made it hard for those audiences to retain and apply that information. And so we were really determined to solve these challenges and create learning opportunities by designing learning around their needs. And what we found is that we realized across all different audience groups we worked with, they all used a mobile phone to text. 93% of the world actually used a mobile phone to text. So we thought, why aren't people using this as a way to deliver learning? And so we launched an entrepreneurship and financial literacy course that was a message-based course designed by us and a USC, Babson, and Harvard professors. And it ended up working really well. All the audiences we worked with across the world and within the US ended up engaging and really liking it. And we realized it worked because it was designed to meet people where they were. It was delivered right on their mobile devices where they were already spending their time, and they could respond whenever they wanted. They didn't have to structure their day or move their life schedule around the learning, but rather the learning came to them in a way that would meet their needs and actually allow them to engage. And not only did they engage, they actually reported they really liked it. This was their preferred way of learning, they reported, and we found this to be true. Fast forward a few years now when we work with millions of learners. This got us thinking, well, there must be a better way to learn, not just for rural communities, but anywhere in the world for all types of audiences. And research told us from Harvard and Stanford that spaced learning is incredibly effective and that messages used for learning can help drive real behavior change. And so if we designed a course model where we delivered small bite-sized learning experiences spaced out over time, directly applicable to the topic at hand, delivered where people are, that we might see better results. And we found that to be true. So fast forward to today, just wanted to quickly recap what Arist does. We work with leading organizations like Takeda and the state of California to deliver learning experiences over message-based communication medium. So WhatsApp, Teams, SMS, Slack, these are communication apps people already use every day. And we help make it possible to deliver learning in an effective way over those mediums that makes it easier for the admin and for the learner to engage with the content. So what is the Arist learning model? Well, here's what a traditional course looks like. This is an effective communication course that one of our customers created and delivered. Each course consists of several lessons spaced out over time, usually sent daily. And each lesson consists of the main concept explained in 1,200 characters or less. So about 1 to 2 screen lengths of text, as you can see here. And then each lesson has several questions that get the learner to reflect or take action based on what they're learning. So they get instant feedback and information that helps them actually contextualize this learning. And then they get spaced out reinforcement and nudges to see how they're applying it, to get them to actually understand the information, retain it a lot better. And so Arist helps deliver full courses and courses that can be grouped. So let's say you have a new volunteer that you want to go through foundational volunteer training to learn about what you all offer, how to work with their different audiences on the ground. You could create a series of, let's say, 4 different courses that are spaced out over a couple months, and that would be considered a pathway. And you can design those courses and those courses to be linked under one pathway in Arist, and then you could send follow-up reinforcement and nudges 30 days later, 15 days later, to see where they're at with that learning. Are they applying it? How are they doing on the job? And then you're able to actually send out one-time communication blasts as well over Arist that can help get you information or provide information to the learner that's part of their overall learning or training journey. Because we deliver learning right where people already spend their time, we're also designed to be the world's most accessible learning tool. Almost everyone in the world has access to texting. And so no internet or laptop or work device or smartphone or email address is actually required to go through this type of learning experience. We also support text-to-speech translation, which helps with visual and auditory impairment. And we also support any language and international sending. And so because of the reason that we were founded, and because our tool is actually designed to be the best learning medium for anywhere in the world, we launched Arist for Good, which is our arm where we partner with nonprofit and NGOs and for-good institutions and help subsidize their use of Arist to deliver critical learning experiences around the world. Our corporate partners know this is a really important part of our organization and care, and through them using Arist, they actually help support a lot of these initiatives. So our model is that for every course that our corporate partners deliver, we try to deliver that through one of our for-good partners. And so with this model over the past year, we've delivered over 1 million lessons, and we're on track to deliver 4 million by the end of this year. Some organizations that we've worked with on the impact side are the state of California, World Health Organization, and the Thompson Foundation. Here are just a few countries where we've been able to deliver critical learning experiences. And I'm going to dive into how we worked with partners to deliver these types of learning experiences around the world. So we worked with the state of California to help them deliver disaster preparedness training for residents around the state. And within a few weeks, they were actually able to create and deliver this course to over 100,000 people in 12 different languages. This is because it was really easy to create the message-based content in Arist, and then they were able to translate it really quickly. from the people they promoted this course to, over 85% of learners actually enrolled in that course. And for those that took this course, 93% said they felt more prepared in the event of a natural disaster. And they found it really useful that they could scroll up. They always had the access on their phone. In case a natural disaster happened, they had the information at their fingertips to actually take action and know what to do. The World Health Organization worked with the Poynter Institute to help prevent misinformation sharing in Kenya, and they found it to be incredibly effective. In this study, they said that it actually decreased misinformation sharing by 33% compared to people who didn't take any message-based course. They also found in a follow-up experiment 2 months later that 88% of that information was retained and was still preventing the sharing of misinformation. Finally, another example is that the Thompson Foundation used us when COVID-19 hit to rapidly train journalists in Sudan about COVID-19, what it meant, and how to prevent spreading or report on it. And within a few weeks, they were able to create this content and deliver it to 10,000 journalists. And they offered either a WhatsApp course, or they offered a LMS course, which they could go online, go through a click-through experience to learn about it. And they found that 71% of their participants chose WhatsApp delivery. This boosted enrollment by 3 times, and they saw a much higher completion rate as a result of the WhatsApp modality. And all of this was actually possible even in an area where many didn't have consistent access to Wi-Fi or electricity, and there was very little press freedom as well for these journalists. And so how did our partners use Arist to drive results? Well, Arist helps quickly launch critical learning experiences within minutes. So our platform is designed to make it really easy to create and edit learning experiences or courses that are designed around our course model, which we've proven to work over time. And so the ability to create it is a lot faster, and it's a lot easier for anyone to create, whether you come from a learning design background or you don't. Second is that all of the data across thousands or millions of learners is collected in one place. And so it's really easy to track learner progress, gain insights from learner responses, and all of the outcomes that you might be expecting or you might desire, like completion rate, or are people liking learning this way? And you're able to gain insights that might be hard to parse through otherwise. And these organizations also were able to train and educate staff or volunteers or learners in different communities anywhere in the world, even the most remote places. And so our platform and solution made it easier for them to actually localize the training and deliver it in different places around the world. And so just to give you a quick look into our solution, our platform makes it easy to create, deliver, and measure those message-based learning experiences. So on the creation side, you're able to create from scratch. So this is an example of what our course builder looks like. And as I mentioned before, it's based on our course model, which makes it easy to create that learning that we know and have tried and tested over time to drive high engagement and results. We also have an off-the-shelf content library with over 100 customizable courses where you could look at the course. Let's say it's a fundraiser enablement course or a program onboarding course, and then customize or contextualize it to your organization. And this makes it really fast to create content. We also earlier this year launched Sidekick. So Joanne, to your question about how we utilize AI, this is an AI course builder where you can plug in a topic and explain the audience a little bit about what you want to teach, and it will generate a first draft of a course for you. And this course is in message-based format. It matches our course model, and you can go in and edit it if you'd like, and then push it out to the audience or allow them to sign up themselves. I'll pause here. If you want to scan this QR code and actually try Sidekick, I would love your feedback and would be very curious to see how this might help your organization. Just pause for a second. Cool. So once you create that content, Arist makes it really seamless to deliver content in 2 ways. Either you can push learning out to different audience groups, or you can share link or QR code or even a code to text to sign up. So if you already have, let's say, you have a group of volunteers, you have their phone number, they're in a remote area, you can upload their data to Arist, and then you can push out a course or a pathway where they automatically get enrolled, they'll get their first lesson, they can engage, and it's really seamless from there. The second way is, let's say you want to promote on a TV ad or a billboard, a way for someone to sign up, anyone to sign up for a course that you're offering to create learning opportunities. Maybe you can put a QR code up on that poster, or you can maybe share a code for them to enroll. So you could say, hey, text, this is an example, text history to 20202, which is a short code. And that's a really good solution for people who are in remote areas who maybe can't open a link to enroll, which would require internet, right? And so we have a lot of flexible ways to sign up that makes it possible for any type of audience to enroll, or for you to control the delivery experience. And we also, just a quick note, we also allow either you to choose when the learners get their messages, or the end user or learner can actually choose when they receive their training or learning every day. And so that helps also make sure that we're being mindful of what their own needs are and when they actually have time to learn. And so that helps improve engagement, but also makes it more friendly to their own needs. Finally, once you've delivered this learning, you want to track and see how are my audience groups or how are learners signing up. And then you want to see their progress. Are they completing this training? And throughout that experience, you actually end up having a lot more touch points with message-based learning experiences, because let's say you have a 5-lesson course that delivers every day. And within each lesson, you have, let's say, 6 to 10 touch points of back and forth between the lesson and the Q&A. You end up collecting a lot of data. And so our platform makes it easy to share that information that learners are responding, whether it's multiple choice or an open-ended response. And you actually see all of that data in Arist, and that can teach you a lot about your audiences and learners, and that can help you design better training, or maybe take certain action even within your organization that would help drive better outcomes. And so just to give you an example of the end learner experience, here's what SMS might look like. And here's, for best SMS experience, sorry, I think this is the wrong screenshot. For the best SMS experience, we'll share in the link, a link to sign up. And I'll share in a second here, and you can experience it yourself, because I think that's the best way to experience an Arist course. But WhatsApp, here's what the WhatsApp experience looks like if you're curious as well. And so I'll pause here. Here's an effective communication course that helps train people on the basics of being an effective communicator. It will deliver 1 lesson every day in WhatsApp or SMS. So if you want to try an Arist course, this is actually a great time. You can try the code-based enrollment, or you can scan the QR code right here. And I'll also pause at this time if anyone wants to chime in with questions as well. I see some questions in the chat, so I'll be sure to answer them. Heather said, what do we need to operate it? Fees, access, chatbots. So what you need to operate it, so Arist actually directly integrates with SMS and WhatsApp. And what we will do is you can push it out and it will send just like a text. So if the end user is charged for a service or data plan, it will be the same as if they got a text from someone else. In terms of access, it will work with any number, so that should be fairly easy as well. Candace says, does it integrate with Salesforce with a connector? Do you mean sending out learning based on activity in a Salesforce? Just to clarify. Well, I guess to answer your question, we can send out learning based on activity in a Salesforce, collecting user information from a system, matching it to contact. Yes, so we can share information between systems, if that answers your question, and we can also use that information to guide certain learning experiences as well. So the answer is yes. Cool. Okay, so at this point, I will pass it off to Meredith to talk a little bit about how we work with partners to help them implement Arist and get the results that they want.
Hi, so I'm Meredith, an implementation partner here at Arist, and I work with our nonprofit and NGO customers. So if we go to the next slide. So in your first month with Arist, we will teach you how to create and launch courses. We will align the onboarding to your organizational needs and goals. We'll work with you to set timelines and to create a success plan. You can expect to spend between 3 and 6 hours to launch your first course. Rather than having to wait months to build and launch a course, you'll be able to create, send, and analyze the course within 2 to 3 weeks. So really quick turnaround. Once you get that up and running, you'll be able to create and send courses even quicker than that once you have the knowledge of how to build a course. Working with our nonprofit customers, I have had customers go from ideas and goals to course launches and metrics within about 3 weeks. So very quick turnaround time from we got Arist and we built our course, and now we're building a course and sending out to our learners, and we get immediate feedback. We recommend starting with a small group of learners and then working your way to a full rollout. That way you have a chance to gather that feedback and iterate your strategy as you grow your audience. So if we can go on to the next slide. So throughout the course of your Arist onboarding, we will help you to match existing programming with Arist course formats. So on this slide, you can see an example of how you might design your Arist onboarding journey. So for example, say you'd like to start with a series or a single volunteer orientation course. We will work with you to review your programming and your documentation to then suggest an outline and the best course topics. So some examples of courses you could create for volunteer orientation are on the slide. Then after launching your first course, we would then repeat the process and make adjustments based on that feedback from the first group of learners. So say, for example, we want to move on to building community organizing courses and working with those audiences, and then maybe to fundraising and then staff development. We will help you to create a learning strategy that's based on the needs and really the custom operations of your organization. We'll be your partner in designing that. So our current nonprofit partners use Arist to drive results for new and existing programming, which helps to inform decisions and engagement across organizations. So really quick to build and instant feedback. If we can go to the next slide. So after you've gotten a bit into the Arist platform, into your Arist onboarding months 2 through 5, this is when we'll work with you and your team to start to pull analytics and discuss initial success. And if applicable, we'll talk with you about finding internal and external partners for further rollout. So as we looked at in the previous slide with the volunteers and the fundraising and different types of courses that you could design, we will work with you to create a multi-month rollout map so that you know exactly how you're going to be solving your learning, communication, and training challenges really tightly tied to your core programming. So at this stage, your team will be able to launch courses with the click of a button and have a strong list of use cases, as well as a library of courses and a clear go-forward plan for wider organizational and, if you'd like, community adoption. So if we can go to the next slide. So now you're in months 6 through 12 of working with Arist. You've been with us for half a year to a year. You can expect to expand to new audiences and regions. So for example, we have a particular nonprofit partner who started rolling out courses just in 1 or 2 countries, and now they're rolling out courses in 5 or 6 countries and adding each month. So you really do have the opportunity to expand the global reach of your programming through kind of our technology and getting in front of new or maybe just underreached audiences. So we'll continue to be your partner throughout this Arist experience. We won't leave you once you've onboarded. We're going to partner with you for your long-term success, providing guidance on change management, expansion of your learning programs, and helping you to showcase your results to internal and external partners, such as I know donors are a really important audience, so helping you to get the analytics in order to show what you've achieved. So with Arist onboarding, you can really expect a trusted partner and a team driven to help you succeed. And next slide.
Thanks, Meredith. Cool. So some key takeaways here from what we discussed today and what we found from working with some of our incredible partners. The first is that when learning is delivered where people already communicate, we see much better engagement. We see much higher learners' sentiment as well. So people like engaging this way. They feel it meets their needs, they're being considered, and they're actually able to have learning opportunities that they might not otherwise. The second is that when we are able to deliver the entire learning experiences over WhatsApp or SMS or another communication medium maybe they use every day, we're dramatically increasing access just by putting or delivering the information that way. So not asking them to go somewhere else or asking them to have internet, which can make accessibility a lot better. The final thing that we've learned is that when learning is delivered over these communication apps and when it's highly accessible to anyone and fits their own needs, it still needs to be delivered continuously in bite-sized digestible chunks that are spaced out over time so that they can actually really retain this information, learn from it, and use it so that they can actually have the performance results that they want or be able to apply that knowledge to help them maybe get a job or help understand something better like microfinancing for their small business or something like that. And so these are some of the things that we found to be true and true again from working with our partners. And we are very, very committed to meeting people where they are with tools they already have access to and use every day and really simplify learning experiences to help make the most impact as a solution and with our amazing partners to help create opportunities that people might not have otherwise. And we've spent years combining leading learning research with a solution that's designed for accessibility from ground up to make learning actually accessible and effective to any person anywhere in the world. And this year, we are on track to deliver 4 million courses through Arist for Good by working with amazing partners like you all. And we believe that we're all in a really, really remarkable position to do good. And we would love to work with you all to shape the future of learning together. And if you are interested in learning more about some of the work we discussed, you can go to our website or actually download and read through our impact report from last year, which the QR code is here if you want to scan it. And I'll pause here. I'd love to also, I know we still have some time left, so would love to answer any questions that you have about Arist or things you're interested to talk through to see if we can support. Feel free to put it in the Q&A section or the chat. And thank you all so much for tuning in.
While we're waiting on questions, one of the first questions that came through was about AI. So maybe we could talk a bit about Sidekick and how we're helping you build courses quicker than you would have been able to before.
Yeah, for sure. Just to briefly touch on that. So Sidekick, how we help you is you're able to, let's say you wanted to design right now you wanted to design a volunteer training program. And you wanted to help people understand something that was happening in the community. You could type in that topic. You could say it's for volunteers, and it will automatically generate a message-based course for you. And then you can go in, it auto-populates into the course builder that I showed you. You can go in and edit it a little bit and then push it out to your audience. So it makes it it takes designing those experiences from hours to minutes. And what we're also doing, the next thing we're launching with it is helping you actually feed it company-specific data that will help you translate. Let's say you have already existing learning in a different format and you want to create reinforcement courses or new courses in a message-based format to make it more accessible. This new feature will help you do that really easily. And I also see another question here. Can the users who receive the courses ask questions about the topic and have pre-made answers, or is it necessary to have someone dedicated to that part? So all of the learning is preset. So it's not real-time learning, meaning you don't have someone like on the administrator or course designer end responding to people directly there. But what you can do is you collect all of this data. So let's say they ask a question, you'll actually see that in Arist, and then you can go and act based on that by pushing out, a response to them, or maybe if you have some like community learning aspect of it, you can address it there. And then Heidi asked, we tend to use a wide variety of technology with staff, many platforms, databases, and it overwhelms people who are not as tech savvy. Have you navigated this type of feedback? What strategy? Yeah, great question, Heidi. Every organization has a lot of different tools. They can get overwhelming. We've really designed Arist to be very, very simple to utilize from anyone who's not even used to creating learning or content. So from the admin side, we've tried to make the user experience fairly simple and easy to adopt. And I'm sure Meredith could speak to that as well. I think with on the staff end, if you're training staff through this medium, most people are used to communicating over text. And so what we found is that actually across any age range or any type of audience, whether they're familiar with using a lot of technology or they're not, it's pretty obvious for them to engage and how to engage. And so we've actually found the change management for that to be fairly simple, and there's not a lot involved with it. Versus maybe an app, you have to teach someone the ins and outs of it, remind them to go in, and that adoption becomes a lot more difficult. So I hope that answers your question, but happy to talk more to it if it doesn't.
And to add to that, something else fantastic is that it's not an extra app that anyone has to go and learn how to use or go and log into, or it's not a separate location. It's really the tools that they're using every day. So there's a really kind of low barrier to entry, and it makes it a more natural process, less of something that they have to learn how to do and get used to.
Heather asked, what technically do we need to run Arist? So Arist is the admin dashboard and solution is a web-based app. So you go to arist.app, you have your own organization, you have all the data in there, the ability to create, deliver, and analyze. A lot of those features I showed you are all in a web-based app. And then the learner experience, everything that they get is in a messaging app. So WhatsApp, SMS, wherever you're pushing that learning experience. And that's where everything happens for them. They don't really go to a web-based app. They don't go to any links or anything. And then every interaction that they have with Arist on the learner end gets sent back to Arist, and you're able to access that data on the web app. And all of that data is hosted in our database, which we use AWS for that, if that was your question. Any other questions here?
One of the questions from earlier was about how to deliver microfinance training. So I could share a bit about working with a customer. If a customer had that idea for a group that they wanted to reach in that topic, what we would start off by doing is creating a course outline. So we would group it out by the key things that you want to make sure that this audience learns. And then we would go into the platform, talk through how to add it in as a lesson body, as well as a series of questions. You could do multiple choice or open-ended questions, as well as custom rating questions. Then you would choose the audience. So you would say, okay, there's this group of women that I want to send it to. I have their phone numbers or their WhatsApp addresses, and then you can push it out directly to them. So really any content that you can think of, you can create a course and put it in Arist. You can also use, like we talked about, Sidekick to put in a prompt, and it will generate a great framework for you to start from.
And Alondra, you asked, is there a limit of messages or users? So there's no limit. It really depends how you design your courses, right? So some courses will have 7 lessons. That's more messages than a course that has 3. And the learner will respond based on questions they're prompted to respond to, and that's sort of the amount of messages they will probably send back. We price or work with you based on users, so we can usually subsidize up to a certain user account, and then from there we give you a pretty discounted rate depending on your needs, and that is what the limit to learner users is. But from an administrative perspective, you can have as many people in your organization using it, and we don't charge based on that at all. Any final questions here?
You know, earlier someone posted about creating a, let's see here. Let's see, staff training. Oh, launching a new global knowledge and learning community involving various stakeholders. I would like to know how to use these tools for that purpose. I think there's a lot of possibilities of how you could use Arist for that format. You could either, if you already have the community built on a website somewhere or a place like LinkedIn or something where people are already gathering, you could post links to courses, or if you have folks' contact information, send the courses to them. And you could really kind of build a community around certain topics. So if, for example, like the topic of the week is fundraising, you could share information in the group and then post a link to the course to kind of have that learning underpin it. So lots of great ways to integrate Arist into your community organizing and communication efforts.
Definitely, yeah. Cool. It looks like we have no more questions trickling in here. We'll send some resources as a follow-up to this if you want to learn more about our impact work or how to partner with us. Again, we'd love to work with any of you and all of you. You are all doing such amazing work in your organizations, and kudos to everyone here. And thank you so much for tuning in. I also know how busy everyone is. So we'll send a follow-up in the recording. Feel free to share with your teams as well. Thank you so much.